Manchester United destroy Barnsley at home in the Carabao Cup 7-0. What a thrashing. And then I preview the game away this weekend, Saturday night against Crystal Palace. Join me now for Manchester United, the D Unit's view. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. Please make sure you like the video and subscribe. And if you're following along on audio, please give us a rating so I can continue to get this out to more and more people. Look, what better place to start than on a positive? Like, obviously after the international break, it was quite a negative Nancy type of a show. And, you know, we had every reason to be. We suffered two pretty demoralising defeats in our first three games, and especially the one at home to Liverpool. But things have changed since the international break, and it sort of continues to build upon the good patterns of play that were evident throughout moments of the first three games without being overly consistent. The one really important thing to note, and I covered this in the last episode after we looked at the Southampton result, the goals are coming. And we had 7 of them. Absolutely unbelievable. So 7 goals in a game. I actually can't remember the last time we scored 7 goals in a game. I think it might have actually been the time we beat Southampton 9-0 at home. I think that might have been the last time we scored 7. And that was a while ago now. And that day, yeah, I don't know what Southampton were doing that day. They had a player sent off like Barnsley. Look, I saw the memes out there, and it is very easy to get excited because it's a massive win, and they do have the initials on TV that spell out BAR. And I saw lots of memes going around about how Manchester United dads are telling their kids that, you know, that day we beat Barcelona 7-0. Well, it's safe to say Barnsley and Barcelona are nowhere near the same two teams. And look, it was a very good win, but Barnsley are not in the Premier League. They're in League One. So look, you got to take it with some sort of, you know, comparison. Like, it wasn't like we destroyed Man City 7-0 at home or Real Madrid. It was Barnsley. So it was a really good win. What surprised me about this particular result is the fact that a lot of players played that I didn't think were going to play. So, and ones that I thought were going to play didn't play. So where was the youth? Where was Harry Amas at left back? Instead, we had a Toby Collier. He made his full competitive debut from the start at left back, which I thought was an interesting choice. And Manuel Ugarte also made his first competitive start and home debut. So that was really good. I was expecting those two to start. I just didn't expect Toby Collier to start at left back. I expected him to start in midfield with Ugarte and Casemiro. But yeah, look, the lineup was fine. I had no problems with the lineup. Antony even got to run out. And shout out to the man. He tried hard. Ten Hag said about Antony, you know, that he's always ready. And like, look, in fairness, the bloke is very rarely injured. He trains hard by the looks of it. And obviously Ten Hag still has like some feelings for him. And he basically came out and said in this pre-match press conference for the Crystal Palace game, the manager can only pick 11 players and then I can only make 5 subs. So make sure you are with those 16 players for every game. And you can do it on a consistent basis, perform. In training, and of course, that's the most important. When the chance is there, you have to perform in a game. You have to contribute to a winning team. And look, Antony did contribute to a winning team. There's no denying that at all. He wasn't bad. I wouldn't say he's brilliant. I wouldn't say he's an upgrade on Ahmad at this particular moment in time. I would be shocked if he started against Crystal Palace this weekend. I think it's almost inevitable that Ahmad will come back into the lineup, and I would expect him to come back into the lineup. But look, Antony did well, and he won the penalty, and he took the penalty, and my God, he dispatched that penalty with some venom. Right into the side netting. The keeper went the right way, but he hit it that well, the keeper had absolutely no chance of stopping it. So if you're a kid out there and you want to go and check how to take a penalty, put on that penalty, because there wasn't much wrong with it. And if you could put it in the side netting, the guarantee is that it's pretty much going to be a goal every single time. And with the way and the power he hit it, it was also really good. Now, in other positive news for Manchester United, leading into the Crystal Palace game. And sorry, this is going to be a little bit all over the show, but the injuries are improving. So Hojlund and Mason Mount are both back on the pitch, and they're both back in team training. And Ten Hag has said that they have to decide whether they are fit enough to start. So look, we'll get to the squad and picking the team for Crystal Palace this weekend, but that's fantastic news. I mean, Hojlund obviously has been out since pre-season. There's no chance in hell that he's going to be starting the game. He would definitely be on the bench if he even makes the bench. Mason Mount, though, you could argue potentially he could be brought back into the starting lineup. But look, there were certain things that I liked about the result against Barnsley, and I just want to talk about some of the players that played really well. So I did say that I thought that he would start Marcus Rashford in that game, and he did. And the good news is that Marcus Rashford actually looks like he's bang informed. Like, he was hitting the first goal he took it down, he went inside, and he just smashed it home. Like, it was a great finish. That was the Marcus Rashford of 2 seasons ago when he banged in over 30 goals in that league campaign. And hopefully this is a sign that he's back to the 85 rated, fever rated, playing on EA Sports FC or whatever you want to call it. Hopefully he's going back to the 85 and plus, because there's been signs, even in the games where he didn't score leading up to obviously last weekend against Southampton where he hit it into the corner and Ramsdale was unsighted. But there's been signs of life. And if you're a fantasy coach, you could take a punt on him, because I reckon he's going to deliver a few more goals. I just have a feeling about Marcus Rashford this weekend. I think he will score again. And that leads me on to the other thing. So Garnacho obviously started the game as well, and he also got a brace. So those two players combined scored 4 goals, which, you know, is fantastic for their confidence. And Rashford is definitely a confidence player. As much as anyone will say he's not, he definitely is. When the goals are flowing or they're going in, more come. When they're not going in, there's a famine. And Hojlund was a little bit like that as well last year. So hopefully he can come back and get a goal early on as well to get him going off the bench. Look, Rashford's performance was really good, really promising. So was Garnacho's. It raises a really interesting selection choice or headache, however you want to call it, for Ten Hag this weekend and who he chooses to pick in the forward line and even in the midfield. I think it's almost guaranteed that against Crystal Palace away, we'll have the back four of Dalot, De Ligt, Martinez, and Mazaroui. Thankfully, none of them were injured. So all those issues from the weekend when we thought potentially they might have been injured, well, they were all in the squad for the game at home against Barnsley. Mazaroui even came on in the second half. So look, that's really positive news as well. Toby Collier played well. I thought the midfield were brilliant as well. Casemiro, they started him again, and that was hopefully good for his confidence. And, you know, the players got around him and made him feel like he was still part of the team. So that's really good. And look, there are lots of games coming up. There is a game pretty much every 3 or 4 days for the next couple of weeks leading up into the next international break. So it's important that, you know, the Ten Hag trusts the squad and he uses the squad. And I think that was the one disappointing thing to take away from the performance against Barnsley, is that there just weren't that many youth players picked. Like, as I said, I expected Harry Mass to start. I was kind of hoping that I might see Kone on the bench and Jamie Wheatley and other players. But that's not what we got. The one youth player that we didn't want to be involved wasn't involved, and that was Kobbie Mainoo. So he finally got a rest, which is, I think, will work out well for him in the long term. I think he definitely needed the rest. You can see he's actually been booked in every Premier League game so far this season, and I think that's just because he's tired and he's probably still getting up to match fitness. So I think it would have done him a world of good missing the game against Barnsley. And look, what we've seen in the last 2 games, we've seen signs of attacking play, and the most encouraging thing that I saw, there is a viral video going around on Instagram and other platforms where you can see a bloke that's sitting behind Ten Hag in the dugout for the game against Barnsley in the Carabao Cup. Now, the thing that pleased me the most from this video, and look, great thing. He got to shake his hand, got his shirt signed, whatever. The best thing I saw from that particular piece of videography was Ruud van Nistelrooy sitting there with the tablet showing Ten Hag what appeared to be the style of play that we want to play and the way it's going to go. Look, he is by far, and we all know, the greatest probably striker that we've ever had in terms of pure goal-scoring ability within the box. And you would hope that he would be able to share that on. And it certainly looks like the last couple of games that Marcus Rashford is taking on the advice of Ruud van Nistelrooy because he's shooting much quicker. He seems to be a lot more confident in his shot, and subsequently he's scored 3 goals. So, look, all these things are really positive. I think I've just about covered the Barnsley game. It's great. We scored 7 goals. We've now scored 10 in the last 2 games, and we've kept 2 clean sheets. I think Bayendier started his second ever game in goal, so it was good to see Anana actually get the game off. I actually did wonder if Tom Heaton was going to start, but he didn't. But look, it was good that Ten Hag was actually giving him confidence, because I don't know what that says to the number 2 goalkeeper if he can't even make the Carabao Cup clash against Barnsley from a couple of divisions below. I think that's a sign that you probably need to leave. But thankfully he got a game, and he was pretty much untroubled throughout. I mean, Barnsley didn't offer much, and they look like lower league fodder, to be honest with you. And that's essentially what they got. And it was good to see we didn't let up. I mean, as I said prior, after the Southampton game, where I was like, I wish we'd gone on and got the 4th or the 5th, because Ten Hag teams, well, he has never had that in his reign at Man United. Winning 7-0 is great. That's what I was talking about. When you've beaten a team, go and beat them some more. That's what we've been lacking for so long. So many of our wins have been one goal, or at max 2 goals. In fact, I think the most common winning margin under Ten Hag, like the amount of goals, is about 1 point something or other, which is not enough. As a team of Man United, when under the Fergie years, the average would be well above that. So look, 7-0 and 3-0, great starting points. Now, am I concerned still about this weekend? The answer to that is yes. We only need to go back to last year's visit to Crystal Palace. I think it was in April, late April, might have even been May, start of May, I'm not sure. The season's, we had some weird times last year. But look, it was probably the nadir of Manchester United's campaign last year, that Crystal Palace visit and subsequent 4-0 thrashing. It could have been more. I remember when it was 4, and Elise, I'm pretty sure, I think they both hit the post, or one of them hit the post twice after they were already 4-0 up. It was an absolute shambles of performance. Casemiro was at centre-back. Thankfully, that will not be happening this time round. So you would automatically envisage that we're probably going to be nowhere near as shaky in the defence, which, I think that's the key thing to note here. I think we've got to settle back 4. And De Ligt and Martinez, especially again, I know it was only Southampton and it's only Barnsley, but the defences look solid. And I think if you can continue to build that continuity and they just get the games into them and they get the familiarity with each other, the passing patterns will inevitably come, and the play that we're producing, the quality of it will definitely get better as well. So I think that's definitely something you've got to keep in mind moving forward. These patterns of play are going to come along. It's just a matter of time. We've just got to keep working on it moving forward. But look, the back 4 looks settled. I think that will be the back 4 that starts against Crystal Palace. It's in midfield that's going to be interesting. So we had Ugarte start with Casemiro and Erikson in the League Cup. Casemiro definitely drops out, and you think Mainu definitely comes back in. And then the other key question mark then is, does Ugarte start again in the Premier League, or does he drop out for Bruno Fernandes? Or is it Erikson that drops out for Bruno Fernandes and Ugarte stays in? Very interesting points. I'm not sure. Let us know in the comments what you think he will go with. My personal belief is that I think he'll go Ugarte, Mainu, and Bruno Fernandes in the 10. That's what I'm thinking he might do. The only other thing that I think that he could potentially do is maybe he doesn't start Mainu and he starts on the bench and it's Casemiro, Ugarte, and Fernandes. Or he might surprise us all again and Erikson somehow starts a third game in a week. I just can't see him starting again, considering his age, his lack of legs, and the fact it would be his third start in literally a week. But, stranger things have happened. Now, when we look at the forward line, though, that's where it gets really interesting. So, look, the beauty of it all is that Rashford, Garnacho, both in goal-scoring form. Ahmad, you can't drop him after his Southampton game. It was good to give him a rest on the midweek against Barnsley, but his performance against Southampton, where he created 6 key chances, and really unlucky that he didn't have more assists. He only had the 1 assist. But he's banging form, and Xerxes has been showing signs of life. So even though Mount's coming back from the injury front, I just think that I think Garnacho drops back to the bench and it goes back to Xerxes, Rashford on the left and Ahmad on the right. I'd be shocked if it doesn't. And especially because of the fact that Mazaroui and Ahmad seem to have some good relationship and rapport already going on that side. And Ahmad offers so much defensively as well. And I think that's going to be needed against a Palace team that I expect to be a much sterner test than the last 2 games we've played. If Ten Hag comes out of this game with a clean sheet and a significant win, by significant win I mean by at least 2 goals, I think we've turned a corner. Like, I know it's early to say because obviously we've got Tottenham at home next week in FC20, but I think we can honestly say that potentially a corner has been turned and we're on an upward trajectory. Now look, Crystal Palace have not started the season well at all. I think they've only had the 1 win from the 4 games and they've not kept the clean sheet yet. So I'm expecting us to score. And if we score, it's just a matter of how good we are going to be defensively. We can't afford to roll up and play the way we did last year against them because we'll get the same result. But I'm imagining that we won't. I'm sure that Ten Hag is well briefed on that and he's got a plan in place. He's alluded to as such in his press conference, basically saying last year I only had about 11 players to pick from. So, we take on board that we didn't play well there last year, but this year we've got 18 players ready to go. So, it's going to be a good challenge for us. Hopefully it's a good challenge that we put down and we come away with a win. Doing that, I think the credit goes back into the bank for Ten Hag and it will definitely quell those rumours. I mean, all it's going to take, and we know Manchester United, the most popularised club in the world, as soon as there's a bad result and there's a loss, all of a sudden everyone's on board. Even sometimes I get a little bit carried away. I'm like, yep, Ten Hag, no idea. Let's get rid. Ruud van Nistelrooy's ready to go. Let's bring him in. But yeah, so look, Ten Hag made a really good point. He said comparing last time out. So yeah, maybe you can also compare the FA Cup final. I don't compare it. And because of circumstances in that moment in the season, I would say from February on, we almost had to every time find 11 players who can construct the team. Now we're in a different place. We have 18 players and we can pick a team. And he's right. At the moment, he's got a full squad of internationals for the whole squad. So the 11 and the however many is on the bench. I think it's a squad of 20, isn't it? Yeah. And look, all the players are quality. There's no denying that at all. So I think he's right. I really think he's right that, this weekend will definitely go significantly different. And it's exciting that Hojlund in particular is coming back because I feel like with the way that Ahmad's been playing and creating these chances, last year, poor Hojlund played with... He's not a player that's going to link up the play. He's a bit like Haaland. He needs the chances created for him and then he'll hopefully score them. And I think that Ahmad is a much different player to what... And he didn't obviously play with Ahmad very often at all, if at all, last year. I think he only played a couple of times with Ahmad in the team. I think Ahmad will set him up. I think that there could be a really good relationship that could be developed there and a style of play that I could see Ahmad assisting quite a few goals for Hojlund. Let's just hope that he can get off the ground running early this year because that's definitely what we need. Now, a couple of other things to note. During the week, Mazaroui has come out and done an interview with the club and basically said, that there's plenty more to come. He's nowhere near the finished article at the moment. He's still getting his fitness. And when he does, there's going to be even more quality. Look, as I've said previously, I can't believe that he's only cost that much. He's probably been close to the best right back in the league so far through the first 4 games of the season. And yeah, hopefully that long continues. Hopefully he avoids injury and we just carry on. Now, the other thing that I want to mention, the ladies, they take on West Ham United at Old Trafford on Saturday in the opening game of the Women's Super League season. So hopefully they can get off to a good start. They've had a little bit of, change and movement behind the scenes. I'm not going to cover them too much. I will try and cover the results and just say what they are. But they also get off the ground and running this weekend. So both our teams play on the Saturday. So that's going to be really exciting. The other piece of news, and this is for all the people, look, Antony Martial was a great player. One of my favourite chants is the Antony Martial. It cost 50 million down the drain. Tony Martial scores again. Yeah. He came from France. The English press said he had no chance. Such a great chant about such a great player. I used to love when he scored because most of his goals were quality. And when he was fit and he was firing, he was an unstoppable player. That debut goal against Liverpool and some of the other goals that he scored, just absolute brilliant. He could have been so much better than what he was. Unfortunately, injuries and I think his lack of confidence in his body has definitely cost him his time at United. But look, he has joined, like De Gea, who recently joined, and he's actually got off to a fairly decent start there after spending a year out doing nothing other than just training, I suppose. Well, Antony Martial has joined AEK Athens on a 3-year deal. Now, they must be pretty confident that he's going to stay fit. But I just want to point out that, he has found a new club, and I hope that he does do well because he had special moments. I still remember the goal that he scored against Man City when we won 2-0, and I was at Old Trafford for that game when Bruno Fernandes dinked that little free kick over and Antony Martial scored, and then Scott McTominay with that 20 or 5-yarder right at the death. 2/3 of those players are gone. So look, I hope they go well, and he gets off the ground and running. Now, I just want to say that he scored 90 goals in 317 games for United. So we can only hope that our players start scoring goals. That hopefully Xerxes can become a little bit more clinical this weekend, and same with Hojlund. Now, Crystal Palace, they have some quality players like Mark Gay. He is obviously England international at the back. He's quite a quality footballer. There's no denying. He looked really good for England during the Euros. And Eze has been exceptionally unlucky the last few game weeks. In fact, pretty much this season in terms of his output. And Mateta got a double last week. So look, Crystal Palace can't be taken lightly. They definitely pose a much more attacking threat than, probably what we're given credit for. And I think a lot of fans are going to be, all the way up here because of, we've scored 10 goals in a week and, we're like, we're going to score another 3 or 4 this week against Crystal Palace. I don't think it's going to be that easy. I really wish it was, and I hope that it is. But I think this is going to be a much more difficult test for Manchester United and their ability to convert chances and convert their dominant spells in the game. Because I think this is like one of those games, a bit like the Brighton one, that if you don't take your chances, they could come back and bite you on the arse. 100% that could definitely happen in this game. And I think United have to be very careful and very mindful of the fact that, it's still pretty fresh in the memory, last year's 4-0 result. So, look, the 5 things that I'll be looking for, seeing what Ten Hag decides to do is, what forward combination does he pick for the game to start with? Does he make quality substitutions that impact the game? Because he did that really well in his first season, and then it's sort of gone missing. I think most of his subs last year didn't actually do much at all. And he sort of lost the touch, where in the first season he was really good. So I'm hoping that can change again this season. And then I want to see whether we can keep a 3rd clean sheet in a row. That will be really interesting to know, because that will, again, build the confidence. And look, I hate comparing ourselves to Arsenal and any other team, but that Arsenal team are a measly defence. They play all these teams and they just keep keeping clean sheets. And if you keep a clean sheet, you're that much closer to actually getting a win. And for too long, and last year in particular, United did not keep enough clean sheets. There wasn't enough defensive stability. That needs to change, and that is the next thing I want to be seeing. Can we get a third clean sheet in a week? It's only going to build confidence. Can Ten Hag continuously keep the defence nice and stable? They were really good. So against Southampton in particular. Barnsley, it's hard to read too much into that game, but against Southampton, after that penalty miss, I don't think Southampton had another chance. And the second half was just a complete cakewalk. And that's what United games used to be. That's what we've got to get back to. We can only hope that happens this weekend. So, look, I'll be watching on. The game tomorrow is the late kickoff in the UK on Saturday afternoon. It's a 5:30 kickoff, which means it starts at 12:30 here in Western Australia. I'll be watching it. I'll give a live, well, I'm not going to give a live review, but I'll review that before, and then preview the FC20 game. The games are coming thick and fast, so I'll try to keep on giving my thoughts on what I've seen. But look, it's hard to give you anything else other than the fact that I was impressed against Barnsley. There's no denying it. 7-0, I was over the moon. It's very rare that you've seen United score that many goals in a week, let alone a game, since Ten Hag wasn't here. Well, it was probably the last time we saw that was under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when we used to win 4-0 and stuff like that. So, look, long may it continue. Hopefully we go to Palace. Hopefully we get a good result and another good performance. We need to keep building that momentum and delivering and just racking up those points in the league. Yes, it's a bit of a grind, but that's what league form is all about. Showing up week in, week out. Can United do it again? Can they make it 3 wins in a row? Let's find out tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you after the game. D in it out.